It's a long time since I've produced one of these videos, and maybe it was an unfortunate break that I made over the summer because we've left Christian and Hopeful languishing for a long time in Doubting Castle. But today they escape, and from their escape we see some examples of Bunyan's theological and pastoral helpfulness. So I've got they're actually very simple lessons, but they are important, helpful lessons for us. And the first is this, that Christian had the key to escape all along. It was the promises of God in Scripture, and it is pictured here as a key that Christian had in his pocket all along. He wasn't really trapped in Doubting Castle. Christian and Hopeful felt trapped in Doubting Castle, but they weren't, because they had the key. In Scripture's promises, they had all they needed to be persuaded of the truth, to be fully convinced of God's goodness, to be assured of their salvation, and even to rejoice and to enjoy God. They had it already, simply through Scripture's promises. We don't need a fancy, complex teaching that's a secret, only held by people who've gone on a special training course and can tell us some complex teaching we never would have worked out for ourselves. We don't need that. We simply need Scripture's promises. Now, don't misuse that. I'm not denying both the helpfulness of teaching and training, nor, very importantly, am I or Bunyan denying that there's such a thing as clinical depression, and medicine and CBT and other medical interventions can help. Bunyan's lesson is certainly not reject clinical help. But he is showing that in Scripture we have all we need to lift us out of Doubting Castle, feeling we are trapped in our doubts and despair. But second lesson, although Christian had this key all along, notice it took him a long time to realise he had it in his pocket. And Bunyan is realistic here, that the hold that depression can have on us can take a long time to pull out of, and it doesn't simply go away by having the Bible quoted to us. Now, the Bible is the answer. This is where Bunyan is being very nuanced and pastoral. The answers are in Scripture. So do, if someone has depression, or if you have depression, keep with Scripture. Read Scripture. Listen to Scripture. Tell Scripture to such a person. But don't think, oh, why have they not just pulled their socks up, listened to what I said, and got out of it quickly? We need to be patient and sensitive and caring, like Hopeful was with Christian. Because although we have all we need in Scripture, it can take us a long time to recognise that, and Christians certainly can feel very trapped. And in a third simple lesson, Bunyan's very subtle about this, because he doesn't make it explicit, but read carefully and you'll notice that they escape on a Sunday. It's on a Sunday that Christian realises he's got the key that he needs in the promises of Scripture. And that's no coincidence that Bunyan has put that in, although he's been quite subtle about it. Because although Pilgrim's Progress can make the Christian life look a rather solitary thing, or just you and one companion, that's just the nature of the story. Bunyan has woven in various ways, including this, our need for the church. Please do not neglect the church. Do not neglect gathering together with your fellow Christians. Husbands, please enable your wives to not neglect that gathering. Bunyan is weaving in, we need each other, not just friendships and individual companions, but in the context of the local church. So, some simple yet vital pastoral lessons.